on changing locations and shit. Man, get into this motherfucking bag. Stand up the way, I mean. Sacrificing time for this shit. Man, I got a plan. Tried to tell niggas years ago. They ain't understand. Riding by myself and it's cool. I'm all in my head. Everything in life you can't replace. I build relationships. Pretty little smile make a nigga wanna lock it in. We met the same time I lost a friend. We should try again. You been on my mind. You should hop in. I ain't gon' hurt you, baby girl. You know we locked in. Used to be on FaceTime calls on the regular. Never made time, landed on my busy schedule. Now every time I hit the bay, you know I think of you. Working on your brand, love, you know that I.
And we are live. What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy, Henny DeMoore, reporting live from the liquor store. How's everybody doing? And if I ain't said it already, man, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Now, this is not my first show of the year. You know, I did go live with Boss yesterday and did some content. But this is the first solo show of the year, man. So welcome to the liquor store. If you ain't know what we supposed to do, we should be in here getting drunk, slapping drunk out this Dallas Cowboys content together, man. So slide on in, you know, get your favorite beverage. You can get you some Hennessy, you know, you can get you some Alizé, you know, you can get you some cognac, you know, some tequila. Shit, you drink beer, we drink beer. You know, we got moonshine, and you know, we definitely got eagle tears, you know, fermenting in a mason jar right now. So whatever drink you desire, you know, you can come to the liquor store and get it, man. So tap on in. We're going to get a little tipsy. Listen, I know some of y'all got to work on a Friday. I do as well. I got to go in for a little bit. But we can have a little, you know, we got a little ski taste before we go in, man. But we have things to discuss that must be said. And I'll be blunt with y'all. The Dallas Cowboys need to be in the midst of a coaching search right now. The writing is on the wall. Eberflus is getting flushed. You know, he will pay for his sins and the mistakes that he made throughout the course of the season. And he will be gone. You know, it's fitting. It is what it is. There's no coming back from being as bad as he was. You cannot have your name in the history book next to worst defense of the Dallas Cowboys and be expected to come back. You should not even be expected to get a job anywhere else in the NFL, at least during this coaching cycle. You're going to have to go to the college ranks or some shit for a while and rebuild your name and your brand and all those other things, man. I don't personally believe, you know, he should even be in the NFL after what the fuck done went down this year. But the reason I'm speaking on it, it just is some things that he said, you know. You know, they find a way to piss me off every morning. Every time I wake up and open my eyes, they find a way to piss me off and worry the hell out of me. Let's see. This is not even it. Matter of fact, hold that thought. Let me hit this refresh button because I think this bitch ain't loaded in. Give me 2 seconds. Let me hit this refresh button because I got to make sure we got all our talking points loaded into this bitch. Let me hit this refresh button. I ain't going nowhere. All right, so let me see if that did it right there. Let me see if that did it because I need to find the rest of my talking points because I know I loaded them bitches in this morning. Yeah, it's just all the way down here. There you go. All right, so I ain't crazy, not really crazy, you know. Like I do play like I have imaginary friends and shit, but I ain't that goddamn crazy. All right, so this is the thing that pissed me off. You know, they asked him, and this is from the same interview where he was copping pleas. You know, this from the same presser when he was like, well, you know, we lost an all-pro pass rusher in the name of Micah Parsons. You know, and that makes things a little bit harder on defense and all this other bullshit. And then he turned right back around after he said that shit and said, I don't think I'd do anything differently. So he has to go. And this is the reason why. Because even with everything that's happened, you know, even with the failures, the shortcomings, the embarrassments, you know, having a moniker of being the worst defense in the league, you know, openly letting down your offense. You know, you got a top offense and a bottom defense. You are the common denominator in why we don't win more games. Even with everything that's went wrong, with all of this supposedly, you know, you could put the blame on my feet. I'm the defensive coordinator. You said all that shit just to say you wouldn't do nothing differently. So when Jerry Jones and then was campaigning to move Micah Parsons and shit, you wouldn't have said nothing different. You wouldn't have said, you know what, this ain't unanimous. Like, this ain't no shit I can get behind. You wouldn't have said nothing. You wouldn't have alienated Diggs the way that you did, knowing that you probably needed him to play them games. You wouldn't have, you know, you wouldn't have blitzed a little bit more in the earlier part of the season instead of being stubborn and sitting back in zone, knowing that you have nothing but man-to-man coverage corners. You wouldn't have did nothing differently, my nigga. You would have just ran out there and been ass all over again, what you trying to tell me. And I don't need a motherfucker like that. I need a motherfucker that's willing to grow. I need a motherfucker that's willing to learn from their mistakes. I need a motherfucker that's willing to go the extra mile to say, you know what? Maybe my scheme is not the end all be all. You know what I mean? And I listen, I keep repeating this because it's true. Dan Quinn damn near changed everything about his defensive approach when he came to Dallas. Legion of Boom, cover 3 zone coverage team. Came to Dallas, cover 1 man. We gonna do robber or we gonna do cover 1 hole. We gonna do something. But the niggas I got right now can't play what I want to play. You know, and he made those adjustments. He made those changes. So I don't have any pity for this nigga. Listen, it's normally a sad day when a grown man loses his job. But damn it, sometimes you deserve to lose your job. You know, sometimes you deserve to lose your job in a performance-based industry. If you were not performing up to the expectations, or you're performing so bad below expectations, you have to be removed. Girl, shut your bitch ass up. I'm sorry, this is my cat up here doing the most. It's 6:17 in the morning. This motherfucker want to whine. No. Listen, the liquor store is open at 6:17 in the morning, girl. You're going to have to sit down. You know, you're going to have to get you some catnip, and we're going to have to, you know, make this work. But you can't be doing all that meowing and shit in the background. Go sit your ass down somewhere. Anyway, you said, I'm 37, bro. I didn't even see the ball drop. God, dog. It be like that sometimes, though, man. It definitely be like that sometimes. But, you know, he ain't going to see the ball drop. He's gone. In my mind, Eberflus was gone off this team before the new year started. You know, sometimes you walk around and they already dead. These folks is already dead, man. They already is gone. She said she's saying Happy New Year to the chat. Well, she too damn friendly. She need to go sit down somewhere. Yeah, but Candy a good cat though. She a good cat. Cause listen, man, this shit happened because of Eberflus. Brian Schottenheimer has his flaws and his faults and things he needs to improve on and things he need to grow on as a head coach. Some decision making things. You know, he might want to change the way that he conducts. You know, some of his coaching principles from from being maybe a little bit too strict on things. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like. Maybe the shit works out. Maybe the disciplinary shit works out in the long run. Maybe we're just super mad at the shit. You know what I mean? Maybe we just mad as a motherfucker because of the results right now. Who knows? But Eberflus is the reason why these quarterbacks are going crazy. And this is a side-by-side comparison and a side-by-side analysis of what opposing teams' quarterbacks have done against the Dallas Cowboys defense and what opposing teams' quarterbacks have done against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. You see the opposing teams' quarterbacks when they play the Dallas Cowboys, they done thrown for over 4,000 yards, 4,291 to be precise and exact, 33 passing touchdowns, and they've only thrown 6 interceptions. Now, listen, put that into perspective. Imagine, because we played a bunch of quarterbacks, but imagine if those numbers were from one singular quarterback. Imagine if these were Dak Prescott's season numbers up to this point. If these were Dak Prescott's season numbers, he threw 33 passing touchdowns, he threw over 4,000 yards, and he's only thrown 6 interceptions. You would say that Dak Prescott was having an all-pro caliber season, right? You would say that Dak Prescott is balling out of his mind. He's going crazy. They're going to snub him for MVP. Right? All kinds of different shit. If these numbers were from one singular quarterback, that looks very prime Dak Prescott-ish. That looks very, Lamar Jackson-ish. That looks very Justin Herbert-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like all these quarterbacks that have these gaudy passing numbers and be in these MVP conversations year in and year out, that's what their stat line looked like over the course of an entire season. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys have allowed to happen over the course of the season. We've allowed quarterbacks in totality to play at an all-pro, MVP Pro Bowl level. They throw a bunch of touchdowns, they throw a bunch of yards, and they don't turn the ball over against the Dallas Cowboys. So because of that, all this shit looks amazing. This shit looks spectacular. And it happened on his watch. In comparison, look at the numbers that the Eagles defense is allowing. That's why Jalen Hurts can throw 5 interceptions. That's why Jalen Hurts can turn the ball over 5 times in a football game and still almost have a chance to win. You don't have to talk about it, but have you seen the back and forth between Dez, Micah, Terrence, and Dick Hare from 105.3? The people on 105.3 have me banned on Twitter, so I ain't seen it. I have not seen it. I'm banned. I'm blocked on from the 105.3 the fan page. Maybe they didn't like that I called out their co-worker for being a drunk racist. For getting fired for being drunk and making crazy disrespectful remarks about the hard-working Latino community. Maybe that's why they blocked me. Maybe they blocked me because I be calling out them for being water carriers, and dick eaters. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't like me for that reason. Who knows? But they over there protecting the drunk and the racist. They over there carrying water for Jerry Jones. When Dak Prescott accuser was out here trying to slander his name, they opened their platform to them. So fuck them niggas, really. I don't like them niggas. Man, I got a video on the shit. Let me see. It's on my page. I got a video calling out this motherfucker. I forget who the nigga name is because he's not really important. But let me go to my page and see if I still got that video of when I said what I said about them hoe ass niggas. At least that hoe ass nigga in particular. Yeah, let's see. And if I go ahead and bear with me, I'm gonna search my channel and see if I can find this motherfucker. If I sort it around by views, I might be able to find it. I think it did decent numbers. So let me see if I can find it on here real quick before we move along. Since you're interested in knowing, let me see. No, that's not the one. And listen, you know I do damn near a video a day at least, so it takes some time to slide through these. So y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to see if I can find it. While I'm in here looking, y'all please hit that like button. Y'all please hit that share if you care. Please slap the shit out of an Eagles fan because they probably deserve it. You know, help your boy out. But yeah, I'm trying to find that motherfucker though. Said that guy who was a Texas Ranger pitcher most likely. Yeah, I like BB. Brian Broaddus good people. Brian Broaddus is good people. He's knowledgeable. He's a former scout. You know, like the only things I disagree with Brian about is actually football related. These other niggas, I actually think they might just be pieces of shit. You know what I mean? But only time I ever disagree with Brian Broaddus is about football. He actually seems like a good person. It's in this motherfucker somewhere. I wish I knew what the hell I titled it. But this is also my fault because I never label shit the way it's supposed to be labeled. I do a whole shit ton of content. And I got over 1,000 videos. It's in this bitch somewhere. If I find it, I'll pin it. If I find it, I'll pin it into the chat box. I don't know if it's Shan or not. I gotta go back and see. You probably can Google drunk. Hold on. Let me see if I can Google this nigga. Google this shit. Oops. I ain't trying to do that. Anyway, I ain't gonna let them hoe ass niggas take up the show either though. Oh no, you good, kinfolk. You good. You know, I'm old. I get sidetracked any damn way. But point being, the reason why this shit looks like this is because of Matt Eberflus. Partially because of Matt Eberflus. You know, Jerry is also, a prime suspect in this shit. Because the roster is the way the roster is because, of the moves he's made. Getting rid of Michael Parsons right before the season started. Having motherfucking me, Kenneth Murray on this roster to get abused. Taking all these gambles, on these retreads, like trading for Kyer Elam and shit like that. Like the roster is the way the roster is because of the moves that Jerry Jones made. But Eberflus is still the damn defensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has to get some level of blame in this shit. So, again, in comparison, if we say this is like one quarterback, it's not. It's all the quarterbacks they played. But if this was like one quarterback, if a quarterback for the season threw for 3,345 yards, only 13 passing touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, that nigga's probably getting benched. They probably drafting his replacement in the motherfucking me draft this year. Always, man. Always. Yeah, man. They probably drafting the motherfucking replacement if they put up numbers like that. So that's the difference. That's the reason why the Philadelphia Eagles offense can look the way that it does. Only need 13 points to win a football game. They can have 4 interceptions and a fumble loss in one game and still only lose. In overtime, driving to take the lead and win the game. That's why shit like that happens. Because their defense is playing outstanding. They playing out of their mind. Like same thing. The Cowboys have outgained the Eagles in yards. We scored almost 100 points more than the Eagles, but we've allowed almost 200 points more than the Eagles. That's why our ass, is going to Cancun. We'll be in Cancun. The water's nice. We can put our feet in the sand and shit. But we going to Cancun because of this goddamn defense. So with that said, the architect of that defense got to get the fuck on. We cannot see Matt Eberflus in the Dallas area ever again. 214 business. Let me answer this for you real quick. He said, what grade you give Shorty first year? I give Shotty's first year a C. I'm going to give him a C. One, because he didn't hire the goddamn defensive coordinator. That's really the driving force behind why he even has a C. He has a C because he is the play caller for the offense. The offense scored a lot of points. The offense got a lot of yards. The offense has done its job. Offense is not perfect. It needs to improve in the red zone. It needs to improve on third down efficiency. It needs to improve on its aggressiveness when fourth down is called. Fourth and manageable. That their fourth down attempt rate needs to be much higher than it is, especially in the earlier part of the season. So there are things for it to clean up. But in totality, because he coordinated the offense was spectacular. He didn't have the option to even hire Matt Eberflus. It is what it is. So I'm gonna give him a C. I'm gonna give him a C for the season, and that's with him being a first time head coach and juggling this shit and being compromised. Right. So it's a C. I'll give him a C. You can't really. That's really being very lenient too. So yeah, man. So Cowboy Network, he said everybody Cancun on 3. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. You ain't gonna be too. Hey, listen, you niggas are gonna get an extra week before you bring your ass to Cancun. We are gonna already have our feet in the sand. We already made friends with the locals. We'll save you a spot, my nigga, cause you ain't going too far. You ain't going too goddamn far. We will see y'all niggas there. I promise you that. He said, example, I give Sam Williams a prove-it deal because he coming off of ACL and had to deal with this bullshit. There's a lot of guys you can say that about too, though. Overshown, been gone majority of the year. Revel, we're getting out there getting his ass baptized by fire. One good leg, man corner playing in the zone scheme off coverage. So I feel you. I understand what you're saying, but But let's talk about it. These are some of the prime candidates to replace, one Matt Eberflus for the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator gig. We have Al Harris, we have Jim Leonhard, we have Brian Flores, and we have Jim Schwartz. And let's go through some of the pros and the cons of all these guys, honestly. Let's talk through it. What is the pros of hiring Al Harris? He's a great teacher. He's a great teacher of football. Wherever he goes, interceptions follows. He's been hands-on with cornerbacks. He was hands-on with Trayvon Diggs and helped propel him to be an All-Pro. He was hands-on with the run blend and helped propel him to be an All-Pro. He was hands-on with Nation Wright, and Nation might make an All-Pro selection based off the interceptions and the turnovers he approached. He forced. He did not make the Pro Bowl, but we've seen that happen plenty of times where guys don't make the Pro Bowl, but they still end up making the All-Pro team, right? So it's very possible that Nation Wright is a future All-Pro in of himself because of the work that he put in with Al Harris, right? So you can point to Al Harris, the work that he's done, and you can see tangibly that his methods work in securing the football. Right, he's very good at teaching cornerbacks to take the football away. You talk about Jim Leonhard. He is somebody who's been in the Big Buddy program. He was underneath Vance Joseph all these years. He was a former defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. He's highly respected. He's somebody who jumped up and through the ranks very quickly. He's already an assistant head coach over there with the Denver Broncos. You have Brian Flores, former head coach, Patriots lineage he comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, multi-time Super Bowl winner as a defensive assistant and a scout. Coordinates one of the better defense in the league right now. Very multiple in his approach by how many people he puts at the line. His disguises, his blitz rate is second to none. Jim Schwartz, same thing. A very, very, very good defensive coordinator at this point. Former head coach. So there's a lot of things to like about these candidates. But there's also some bad with each of them. There are also what you could consider cons, right? The con with Al Harris is he ain't called no defensive plays before, right? He ain't called no defensive plays. I know that he can coach cornerbacks to take the ball away. Nation Wright also only played in like 3 games. You know what I mean? Like Nation Wright barely played. So in a limited sample size, yeah, he gave us some plays in a very limited sample size. But you can't say Nation Wright played a season worth of football and his pass rating was like that. You know what I mean? Like you need a bigger sample size to determine if he was really burnt toast or if he just needed reps. And they didn't really give him the opportunities like that in Dallas. He has played more snaps with the Chicago Bears this one singular season than he has for the Dallas Cowboys in his entire 3-year career here in Dallas since being drafted. So it's very telling. You got more snaps, not even a full year because they got one more game to play. You got more snaps already with the Chicago Bears in one season than you do with the Dallas Cowboys in 3. So, it's a much bigger sample size that we're looking at. Oh no, you Gucci, cuz. You Gucci. You added proper context. And I always love when people add context. You know what I mean? So never apologize for adding to the conversation. Huh? It's easier, to do solo shows when I talk to the chat and y'all provide, valuable information like that. So I appreciate you, my brother. What's up with your Mafia? Salute to my brother Mafia Productions in the building, man. Y'all make sure y'all go support his page. He gonna be coming to y'all with some bits. Trying to help y'all get that bag. So y'all make sure y'all go support my boy Mafia Productions, man. So like we've been dumping on our players all year on defense, but it's clear what the real issue is. Some like Dono and Hooker have run their course, but when the whole unit bad, maybe even not. Yeah. That uses the rule of thumb. When the entire unit is bad, you should blame the coach. Everybody did not forget how to play football in unison. Like you can't convince me the Dallas Cowboys have 20 plus players on defense that don't know how to play football no more. It's just not possible. It's just not feasible. It's not logical. You know what I mean? None of that shit is logical.
In Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Entire secondary is bad. You should blame the secondary coach. The entire defense is bad. You should blame the defensive coordinator. Right. Same thing though. Like I ain't gonna hold you. I don't really know a con in hiring Brian Flores. I was gonna say all these guys have cons connected to them. I don't really see a con in hiring Brian Flores. And I'm not trying to be biased because, you know, that's the guy I want. That's the guy I've been pushing for. You know, that's the guy that I think fits what we do and can turn around this defense in short order. Because he's not just winning with you know, overwhelming talent or nothing like that. He's winning with X's and O's. He's winning with the skies. He's winning by bringing pressure. He's winning with his aggressive approach to how he plays defense. You know, so those are I don't really see a knock on Brian Flores. He got head coaching experience. He's been with Bill Belichick. He from that coveted tree. He's had success as a head coach, even though he ended up having to sue them boys. He did coach them to back-to-back winning seasons to end it. You said, who do you want as DC? I've just entered the building. Brian Flores is my prime candidate. Like, he's the guy that I want over anybody else, you know. And, you know, I'll be frank. If we can't get Brian Flores, you know, give me Brian Flores' right-hand man. You know, give me Durante Jones. Because, you know, these are some names they brought up, but these are some other names. You know, there's plenty of other people that we can look at within this coaching search. Right? You know, we don't have to just hyper-focus, you know, on Brian Flores. Because I think Brian Flores might actually get himself, you know, a head coaching job. He might. But, you know, there's guys like Brian Haynes. Did y'all just see the Indiana game? Did you see Indiana shut down the Alabama Crimson Tide? You know, niggas around the country right now is eating elephant meat, you know, because of the job that the Indiana defense did. So, you know, they defensive coordinator Brian Haynes. Hey, my nigga, do you like money? We got a lot of money for you over here in Dallas. Do you like money? Wink Martindale. You can call Wink Martindale up, you know, back from the college ranks. You know, there's plenty of good things to say about him. There's plenty of good things to say about Wink. You know, there's some pushback. I don't know if Brian Haynes has ever coached at the NFL level. I don't know, you know, how Wink is going to handle, you know, being back in the NFL. I don't know how he's gonna handle it. I think he'll do just fine. I think he'll do amazing. But I don't know that for sure. I don't know that to be a fact. I checked on Landlord. No, you know, we still smoking on the Bama Pack right now. Once we done smoking the Bama Pack and eating elephant meat, you know, we got some elephant cuts. You know, we got medium well, elephant links and shit. Once we done smoking the Bama Pack and once we done eating elephant steak, you know, then we'll call Landlord and we'll check on him. But right now we have to laugh at his pain, and I don't want to laugh at his pain in front of him. You know, I'm gonna let him mourn the death of the Alabama season in private. You know, sometimes you gotta mourn in private. But, you know, yeah, you know, elephant meat. You know, they make good steaks. You can smother them bitches. You know, you can, you know, put that bitch on the grill. You know, get that nice little char to it. Yeah, elephant ham hocks. You know, we can make elephant sliders off that shit. Like, elephant big as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? We eat elephant. We gonna be eating elephant for the rest of the year. He said elephant meat is crazy. Pause. Yeah, I know. We got to say extra pause on that shit. So yeah, man. Once we done enjoying, the elephant steaks, the tenderness. Once we done enjoying that, then we'll check on landlord. Yeah, hell yeah, nigga. Listen, if you're able to smother any cut of meat, that motherfucker gonna slap. You know what I mean? You can smother ribs, you can smother deer meat, you can smother pork chops. People love, Salisbury steak. You have a little bit of have a little bit of gravy on that shit with some onion cut up. Yeah, man. Like, if you can smother the meat, then it's superb. It's a delicacy. So smothered elephant, chops, that just sounds like some shit that a real nigga like me would eat. I don't know. But the guy in the middle, though, that's Durante Jones. He is the right hand man, to Brian Flores right now. Now, in all honesty, if Brian Flores gets a head coaching job, I don't actually see a reason why Durante Jones would not be his defensive coordinator. So it might be a moot point. If we don't get Brian Flores, it might be hard to get Durante Jones. Because Durante Jones has been with him the entire time. I think he's preparing him for a defensive coordinator role. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores got a job that Durante Jones ended up being his DC. However, if he doesn't select Durante Jones, he is somebody that has defensive coordinator experience. He was the defensive coordinator at LSU. He's been with Brian Flores this entire time. And I always say this about, learning how to cook in as a black, in Black America. All you got to do is be in the kitchen with Big Mama. When Big Mama is cooking, if you want to learn how to cook, just go in there and watch everything she doing. And Durante Jones is another person that's been in the kitchen with Big Mama. Like Brian Flores been over there cooking up some shit these past 3 years, man. He been over there cooking up some shit. And he was there the entire time. He said, Henny, I think Arkansas, as bad as they are, could have mustered up at least a touchdown. But yeah, because remember, our issue was not, defense. Our issue was defense. We could score with anybody. We had some of the prettiest losses you ever see. We had some pretty ass losses, man. But yeah, Durante Jones will probably end up being his defensive coordinator. But let me pull something for you. This is why I like Durante Jones. Because Durante Jones is somebody that works on the back end. He's a secondary coach by trade. And he came up in the LSU high school, and because of that, he had to learn how to be a teacher. And that directly correlates to how well he's able to teach defensive backs. And I'm gonna let him talk to you about it, actually.
We all learn differently, right? And when I taught high school football, or when I taught in the high schools here in Louisiana, at Generette and Franklin High School, you had to be a teacher. And so It wasn't just football. But I learned rather, the importance of lesson planning and how to present the message or the plan or the material to students. I'm not talking about football. I'm just talking about just high school students in general. But how to get the lesson plan so that they can comprehend, this is what we're teaching, this is the objective of the day. And you have to do that to where you may be a tactile learning style. It may be, some people are visual. But the lesson plan has to be where it incorporates every student in that class learning style. So something's going to have to be on the board, something's going to be visual, something's going to be hands-on. And you have to incorporate all that in that lesson plan. Because if not, there's several kids in that classroom that they're not going to learn well that way. And so teaching helped me transition to football and coaching, to where some players learn best watching film, some players learn best in walkthroughs, some players have to actually do it several times to get it. And so when you're trying to figure out, or you're trying to install a defense, you want to try to make sure you incorporate every type of.
All right, that was Durante Jones talking about how, starting coaching at the high school level, impacted him, as a teacher of football. Because he had to teach actual high school students outside of football, it taught him about lesson planning and how people learn and different kinds of learning, because people don't all learn the same. And that has, had a carryover effect, from him coaching, right? And that's one thing that I do like about Durante Jones. He gives you something similar to Al Harris in that regards, is that he is a very good teacher of football. Like Al Harris teaches football very well. That's what we love Al Harris for. Him teaching the technique, him helping them progress, and getting takeaways and taking the ball away while it's in the air. But the one area where Al Harris actually lacks it is experience in calling plays. Durante Jones does not have that inexperience. He has called plays before at LSU. That's one of the biggest stages in college football. So that combined with the fact, that he's been with Brian Flores, soaking up game, fine-tuning his craft these last couple of years, I wouldn't mind, having him with the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. If we have to go with a first-time defensive coordinator, Durante Jones, is not a bad choice. Jim Leonhard is not a bad choice, because Jim, called defenses as well. It was a very successful defensive coordinator, out there at Wisconsin. He said Flus was a substitute teacher with no notes. Oh, man. He went and got high on his lunch break. Yeah, doggy. Yeah, good morning to Newhouse Fam 44 as well. Salute to everybody just now sliding in. If y'all appreciate the content, y'all know the proper procedures, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like. Make sure y'all hit that share if you care. Make sure we slap the fuck out Matt Eberflus' ass. Because, listen, it's all hands on deck. Like, we can't afford to be slapping no Eagles fans. We need to be slapping the shit out of Matt Eberflus right now. And if you got it to spare, I know you just went out and did it big on New Year's. I know you just went out there and bought out the bar. You got you a section. You were standing on the couch. You were acting an ass on New Year. I understand. I get it. But if you got a couple dollars to help out in the liquor store, to help keep the lights on, it would be much appreciated. The Cash App is $Henny the more. The Super Chats are active. We ain't fighting no RICO to start 2026. It still sounds crazy to say 2026. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, it still sounds crazy as a motherfucker to say 2026. But yeah, if y'all got anything, it goes a long way in helping keep the lights on in the liquor store. And remember, we are practicing manifestation. We may not have hit the mark this time because we're going to Cancun. Like, that shit is over with. We already got flights booked. We already got reservations at the resort. We going to Cancun this year. But we still going to push to manifest that 7 championship for the Dallas Cowboys. So share the content 7 times. Slap Eberflus 7 times. If you donate, send about $7. And we're going to keep it pushing. And we're going to be pushing positivity in 2026 to get this shit changed around. So yeah, man. Appreciate all y'all in advance, man. Also, salute to Angel for the Cash App. I appreciate you for some breakfast or something. That's love right there. Salute to Angel for the support. And if y'all want to be like Angel and help keep the lights on inside the liquor store, please hit the Cash App or please hit the Super Chat, man. That's love right there. It goes a long way. But listen, we still ain't got no sponsors. We working on them. I'm trying to go through the proper procedures so y'all can see Henny on this bitch. with a sleep sponsor or some shit. So I'm trying to figure it out. In the meantime, though, we is unsponsored, we X-rated, and we say what we want to say. Oh, that's D Shift, man. That's love right there, man. Appreciate you, D. Thank you for the love and support, man. Kudos. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's love right there, man. He said, not gonna axe on Sam. I know most folks shipping him out. You need bodies in the defensive end room. You only have like 3 guys under. It's either 2 or 3. Dante Fowler is a free agent. Jadeveon Clowney is a free agent. Who else is there in the room? Peyton Turner is going to be a free agent, who ain't even played for you, by the way. We know we lost Marshawn Nealon. Sam Williams is a free agent. You'll have to throw somebody a contract to bring back in. Just have to have a one body in the pass rushing room. And who knows? Yeah, but who knows? I don't think Sam is going to be able to get a bag. He missed all of last year. Well, Sam Houston is also on the contract. Sam Houston signed a 2-year deal. He actually signed like a damn near a 360 deal to be in Dallas. So James Houston and Donovan Izaraku are your only 2 pass rushers under contract next year. My nigga said, who? When we talk about Peyton Turner, yeah, man, like a dude you signed that's been on IR with phantom injuries all year. Because you need one body. You only got 2 guys. So you probably could bring back Sam for peanuts, because he ain't gonna get no big contract nowhere. Then you could bring back Clowney, and he earned his pay. Listen, Jadeveon Clowney did not even play, the entire season with you. And he is tied with James Houston as your sack leader. He's one of your better run defenders. He's a leader already in the locker room. He leads by example. I would bring him back. Like I keep saying, in regards to Jadeveon Clowney, and like I was talking about, learning how to cook, like being in the kitchen with Big Mama. Even if we get somebody, like let's say we look up and we get David Bailey. Who David Bailey big homie gonna be on the team? David Bailey need a nigga to show him how to be a professional and how to rush the passer and how to, take notes in meetings and how to carry himself as a pro and how to prepare and how to prepare as a pro. And who's better to do that than somebody like a Jadeveon Clowney? Like if you don't have a veteran pass rusher on this roster and you draft a premier pass rusher, they're basically going to be learning on their own, dog. They're basically going to be learning on their own. Like, I like James Houston, but I don't want him to be the big homie in the pass rushing room. You know what I mean? Because he don't know how he's still learning how to be a full defensive end. Because he has some limitations in run support. I don't want Donovan Izaraku in year 2 to be the big homie in the defensive end room. Like, I need the Clowney here. Yeah, Clowney is a grown-ass man. That man done navigated everything. He done been on multiple teams. He done navigated, negotiating contracts. He done navigated, preparing his body for a playoff run. He's been on bad teams, so he knows how to mentally prepare and focus and stay locked in through situations like that. Like, he's been through everything. You know what I mean? So, like, having Jadeveon Clowney, and let's say it's not David Bailey, because David Bailey made himself a lot of money, in this last game against Oregon. Salute to Newhouse with the super chat. He said, "Keep up the good content, Henny. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Thank you for helping keep the lights on in the liquor store. And if I'm not mistaken, y'all, this is the first super chat of the new year, on the solo show. That was the first cash app of the new year for sure. That was the first cash app of the new year, and this was the first super chat on the regular solo show, man. So I appreciate y'all for helping me start the new year out right, man. I appreciate that. So yeah, man, you definitely, need a veteran presence. I see some people say like Trey Hendrickson, Reddick might be her son Reddick might be available. What's her son Reddick's numbers right now? Let me go look at her son Reddick. If her son Reddick, let's see, NFL pass rusher, edge free agents, 2026. All right, let me look. Let's look as a family. She a son Reddick, but what has her son Reddick done this year? All right, these are some names that y'all might know. Trey Hendrickson, of course, because that's who we wanted to trade for this year. Khalil Mack, but he'll be 35 years old. Her son Reddick, who will be 32 next year. But let me see how productive her son Reddick was. Her son Reddick this year had 2.5 sacks. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good on her son. He ain't do shit this year. You could probably make the same argument for Hendrickson, dealing with the injuries, hindering his ass and stuff like that. But yeah, if a son Reddick want to not reset, but if he want a nice little contract, his ass gonna have to stay where the fuck he at. Yeah, he been playing, look like. Yeah, her son Reddick has been playing. He just ain't been doing shit. Oh no, nah, yeah. If he was hurt and out, only had and had that production, that'd be cool. Oh hell yeah, B Bird. Listen, this is the first solo show of the year. This the first solo show of the year. Yeah, we had to go in. We had to get up on it early, man. And y'all go show some love over there to B Bird, man. Got a fire ass podcast, making good content, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Cuz now if we can do some content over the weekend. Because I'm free. I'll be free at some point. Jess Lee definitely agree. Definitely agree. You need veteran players. Like I said, I believe in the Big Buddy program. I believe everybody, in the defense, in any room really, not even defense. I think everybody needs a big homie to show them how to be, professionals at the NFL level. Wide receiving room got CeeDee Lamb, multi-time All-Pro, one of the best in the business. Just follow CeeDee Lamb around. He'll show you how to be a good wide receiver. You know what I mean? Offensive line, we have veterans in the offensive line room now. Tyler Smith is already looked at as one of the premier players in his position. So he can be the leader of the offensive line room. For a long period of time, it was Zach Martin and them, Tyrone Smith. Now it's Tyler Smith. Right? They got a big homie over there with skins on the wall that can show them motherfuckers how to be professionals at the NFL level, right? Then when you take another look and another gander, and you go to some of these other rooms, they got guys that fit that bill. So I need that big homie in the edge room next year. We have one right now in Jadeveon Clowney, and I probably want to keep him because he said and done all the right things. He said and done all the right things up to this point. I would love to have Jadeveon Clowney back with the Dallas Cowboys. Because I think that he still got a little bit left in the tank. You're not asking him to, be the Jadeveon Clowney out of South Carolina, no shit like that. You're just asking for effort, good run defense, and just by the fact that he's so tenacious, and he has such a high motor, he'll fuck around and have 5 sacks regardless. You know what I mean? He'll fuck around and have 5 sacks regardless. So I'm willing to bring Clowney back. Matter of fact, let me just look at Jadeveon Clowney's age in comparison to like somebody like DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah. So Clowney will be 33. Jadeveon Clowney will be 33 years old in February. And DeMarcus Lawrence is already 33 years old. And he's played the entire year at 33. So if DeMarcus Lawrence could play like that at 33, have all these sacks and fumble recoveries and shit like that, for the Seattle Seahawks, right? Why can't Jadeveon Clowney do it? I'm sure you can. Yeah, D-Law got 6 sacks this year at the tender age of 33. Papa Shug said, like Kenny Clark said, we need fucking dogs on defense. Players that actually love football and do the little things to be great and win games. I agree. I think Jadeveon Clowney loves football. I think he's a consummate professional. I think that he can lead grown-ass men in the path they need to go to. So I'm down with bringing Clowney back. We're finna have to lead, though, because I do have to take my ass to work for a little bit. Just an incy bit. So the last name on here, Todd Bowles. I'll make this short and sweet. He had a stint here in Dallas before, but he's the kind of guy that fits into the mold of what the Dallas Cowboys like. He got head coaching experience, and as a defensive coordinator, he won a Super Bowl. He was a defensive coordinator when Tom Brady and them won that Super Bowl during the COVID year. That was him. He's a former player. He's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. So I think that if he gets fired, because there's rumblings that he could lose his job. There are definitely rumblings that he could lose his job if they, squander this season. They miss the playoffs. Right, because they get eliminated with a loss this week. Matter of fact, I think they play tomorrow. It's a standalone game. I will be watching this shit. Because also, fun fact, the Dallas Cowboys' opponents for next year are almost completely set. The Dallas Cowboys will play the loser of the Panthers and Buccaneers game, whoever comes to second place in that division. We will also play the loser of the Ravens and Steelers game. We'll play who comes to second place in that division. We're locked into the second place schedule, being second in NFC East, so we'll play second place teams next year. Our entire schedule of opponents, not when we play them, but our entire slate of opponents is almost set. We'll know our last 2 home opponents after Saturday, right? And then I'll talk about who we play next year, So just a little fun tidbit to let y'all know about. Definitely agree we need Max Crosby too. Fuck them picks. If Max Crosby is available, you say fuck them picks and you trade for Max Crosby. You load up with as many free agents as you can, because right the fuck now is your window. These last couple of years of having Dak Prescott is your window. That's it. That is all. No more fake ass canines like Murray. It's crazy. But hey, I feel you. But I thank y'all, man. We weren't here for a long time, but we were here for a good time. I'm finna go get my shit together so I can go and knock out this day. I appreciate y'all for everything, taking the time out y'all morning to come on here and listen to a guy in his kitchen ramble on about the damn Dallas Cowboys. So I appreciate y'all again. On the way out, please hit that share if you care. Please slap the shit out of Brian. You can slap Shotty too, but definitely slap Matt Eberflus. Slap a Eagles fan. You know, hit the cash app with a super chat on the way out. And in the words of my big cousin, West Coast Cowboy, man, never look down because the style is up. Peace.